Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asian NEWSLINE and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 1st of May. US urges India and Pakistan to defuse tensions after Pahalgam attack. PM Modi to skip Victory Day celebrations in Russia on May 9th. And Hindu leader Chinmoy Das granted bail by Bangladesh court. And now for all the details. Indian Foreign Minister S. Shankar on Wednesday held telephonic conversation with his US counterpart Marco Rubio as Pakistan continued its anti-India rhetoric. We have a report.
With strained ties between India and Pakistan over the Pahalgam incident, India's Foreign Minister S. Shankar on Wednesday held a telephonic conversation with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and said that perpetrators of the deadly attack last week should be brought to justice. In a post on X, Jaishankar said he conveyed India's resolve of action against the perpetrators of the Pahalgam attack. In a statement, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said during the conversation, Rubio reaffirmed the United States' commitment for cooperation with India against terrorism. The statement further urged India to work with Pakistan to de-escalate tensions, which have peaked over the past week. Notably, Rubio also dialed Pakistan PM Shehbaz Sharif on Wednesday, urging him to ease tension and re-establish direct communication with India after both countries announced a slew of diplomatic measures. In the latest, India has shut down the usage of its airspace for Pakistan-based airlines and aircraft.
See, US has a very dubious history in the Indo-Pakistan relations. On the one hand, it always advises India to take restraint, be restrained, and the other hand keeps arming Pakistan. We have seen this right since the 80s when the terrorists and all. The US knows where the terrorist bases are. US knows who's training the terrorists. US knows who's arming the terrorists, but it still carries on with Pakistan on the one hand and India on the other hand.
Meanwhile, Pakistan has continued its war and anti-India rhetoric. While Pakistan Army continued unprovoked firing for the 7th consecutive night at the international border and the line of control, the country's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has said that any escalation by India would be met very strongly. Pakistan had earlier claimed it has credible intelligence India may launch a military operation in next 2-3 days. But unlike 2016 and 2019 when it launched a military offensive, it has yet to make any such move.
And amid tensions over the Pahalgam attack, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not attend Russia's Victory Day celebration scheduled for May 9th in Moscow. Although Russian officials did not specify the reason behind the Prime Minister's decision, reports suggest it was made in light of the prevailing security situation following the Pahalgam terrorist attack. A number of other international leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping, are expected to come to Russia for events to mark the 80th anniversary of victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. PM Modi's last visit to Russia was in July 2024, his first in almost 5 years. Before that, he visited Vladivostok in 2019 for an economic conclave. During the 2024 trip, PM Modi engaged in extensive talks with President Putin and invited him to visit India, a request that Kremlin has since accepted. Moving on. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan launched its flagship annual report on Wednesday, portraying a grim picture of the human rights landscape in the country. The report highlights democratic backsliding, systemic injustice, rising violence and institutional neglect across multiple fronts. The report draws attention to a staggering backlog of 2.4 million court cases, a 66% surge in deaths from terrorism-related incidents and prison occupancy at an alarming 228% above capacity. The document provides a thematic overview of rights violations organized under a broad range of categories. It highlights how legal and constitutional developments over the year have eroded democratic norms and curtailed fundamental freedoms. The report highlights 174 new death sentences handed down in 2024, a rise from 102 the previous year. The HRCP urges the state to take immediate and concrete steps to address critical issues and call for accountability from perpetrators of human rights violations. Meanwhile, health workers in POJK under the MNCH program have been staging protests to demand justice after being terminated without notice. A report.
For over 20 days, 237 employees of the Maternal, Newborn and Child Healthcare MNCH program, mostly women, have been protesting outside the Central Press Club in Muzaffarabad, POJK, against their termination. Despite years of service, they say they were never regularized and have been left to fend for themselves.
सबसे बड़ी बेइज्जती ये है कि अभी तक हमारे पास कोई बंदा नहीं आया कि पूछने के लिए कि आप यहाँ पे क्यों बैठे हो। और सबसे बड़ी बात यहाँ पे ज़्यादा तादाद औरतों की है, तो ये वो औरतें जो दूर दराज पहाड़ी इलाकों में जाके ये अपनी सर्विस दे रहे हैं, और खुसूसन BHU RSC PHK के अंदर पहाड़ों के ऊपर नीपा वैली, चकार, जिला वैली, चकोटी ऐसे क्षेत्रों में दूर दूर जाकर नीलम में के लोग वहाँ से आए हैं। लेकिन बदकिस्मती ये है कि हमारा बजट जो वज़ीर आज़म ने अपनी खुशी काबिज से 237 मुलाजिमीन के लिए एक बजट दिया था जो जून 2025 तक हमारे मौजूद है गवर्नमेंट के पास, लेकिन अभी तक इनने ये शुरू किया है कि हर 3 महीने के बाद मुलाजिमीन को रोजगार लाने के लिए मजबूर कर दिया जाता है और बगैर किसी नोटिस को फर्क कर दिया जाता है।
Despite ongoing court proceedings, the government has not engaged with the protesters. Health workers say they're forced to protest repeatedly, but authorities remain unresponsive.
Bangladesh High Court on Wednesday granted bail to spiritual leader Chinmoy Krishnadas months after he was arrested by local police over sedition charge. In an absurd turn of events, hours after Das was granted bail, an appellate wing of the Supreme Court ordered a stay on the High Court order over Bangladesh government's appeal, only to remove it later in the night. The Hindu leader was arrested in November 2024 from Dhaka airport after members of Bangladesh Nationalist Party filed a police complaint against the ISKCON priest of disrespecting the national flag. His arrest had sparked widespread outrage across the world, especially from India, which expressed concern over extremist rhetoric and violence against minorities in Bangladesh, urging the UNIS government to protect Hindus. Notably, Das was vocal critic of UNIS administration over the minority rights and was leading protest over violence against Hindus in Bangladesh following the fall of Sheikh Hasina's government in August 2024.
के जो ब्रह्मचारी भी आए थे उन्होंने भी उनके लिए प्रार्थना की और 3 बजे ये खबर मिली कि वो उनको आज बेल मिल गया है, तो ये बहुत ही सुखद खबर है और हम यही आशा करते हैं कि बांग्लादेश में जो हिंदुओं के ऊपर में जो अत्याचार का जो चक्र चल रहा था वो अब थमेगा.
Sri Lanka has assured the European Union that it will present a report on the repeal of the controversial Prevention of Terrorism Act in the Parliament within the next 3 months. The commitment was conveyed by Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath on Wednesday during a meeting with the visiting EU GSP Plus monitoring mission. The PTA, introduced in 1979, has long faced criticism from human rights groups and the international community for enabling arbitrary detentions and undermining due process. Its repeal is a key demand linked to Sri Lanka's eligibility for the EU's GSP Plus trade concessions, which provide preferential access to European markets. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the EU mission welcomed the government's commitment to a timeline and expressed readiness to provide technical support in drafting the new legislation. Repealing the PTA is seen as a step towards improving Sri Lanka's human rights record and restoring international confidence. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.